Ichigo Kurosaki is a 15-year-old high school student with orange hair, brown eyes, and the ability to see spirits. As he tries to protect the spirit of a little girl from a hollow, he witnesses a clash between the malevolent spirit and a female soul reaper. Later, Ichigo is met by the same woman again in his room. She introduces herself as Rukia Kuchiki and explains to Ichigo the basic duty of the soul reapers is the act of soul cleansing. The hollow, named Fishbone D, returns to absorb Ichigo's high spiritual energy, attacking Ichigo's home, and Rukia is wounded. In order to save his family, Ichigo desperately takes Rukia's power into himself and becomes a soul reaper to successfully defeat the hollow. After discovering Rukia has enrolled in his class, Ichigo learns that she has lost her power and that he must pose as her substitute until her powers can recover. Although he refuses this responsibility at first, Ichigo eventually accepts after realizing he cannot just turn a blind eye if he encounters a hollow again. Ichigo discovers that one of his schoolmates, Orihime Inoue, is being stalked by her older brother's spirit, who turned into the hollow acid wire due to Orihime stopping her prayers for him, which makes him hesitate to fulfill his duty. As Ichigo is forced to use his power again, his qualms of killing hollows are rested, and he finally submits to his purpose as a substitute soul reaper, killing acid wire. Before he does so, however, Orihime's older brother was able to revert to his kind and gentle nature, expressing his love for her and thanking her before being sent to the Soul Society, the place where soul reapers and souls reside, via Ichigo's Zanpakuto. Ichigo's friend Yasutora Chad Sato comes into possession of a cursed cockatiel that is inhabited by the soul of a small boy, Yuiichi Shibata, but supposed misfortune to anyone who possesses the cockatiel is due to a hollow named Shrieker who has been stalking the boy's soul. Chad is attacked by Shrieker before Rukia arrives to aid him. With Rukia's help, Chad fights Shrieker despite not being able to see him. Ichigo eventually arrives and defeats the Shrieker, but as Shrieker was originally a murderer in life, he is dragged through the gates of hell instead of dissolving into the Soul Society. The spirit that inhabited the cockatiel is released to move on to the Soul Society. In order for Ichigo to transform into a Soul Reaper when Rukia is not around, she purchases some soul candy from the Urahara shop for him. However, the candy is actually a mod soul, an artificial warrior from the Soul Society created to destroy hollows. Once inside Ichigo's body, the mod soul goes on a rampage while ruining Ichigo's social image and turning pervert. Ichigo confronts the mad mod soul possessing his body, but is then distracted by an emerging hollow. Together, they defeat the hollow. When Kisuke Urahara, the merchant who sold Rukia her gigai, comes for the defective merchandise, Ichigo takes the mod soul back and places him into a stuffed lion plushie while naming him Kon, to get even with him wounding his shoulder. Meanwhile, in the Soul Society, a soul reaper is sent to track down Rukia for retrieval. Ichigo and his family visit their mother's grave on the anniversary of her death. While there, the Soul Reaper sent to retrieve Rukia attacks them because she broke the Soul Society's laws by giving Ichigo her powers. The battle halts when Ichigo's sisters Karin and Yuzu are attacked by a huge hollow. Ichigo confronts the hollow, who is revealed as the Grand Fisher, the hollow who killed Ichigo's mother. In a fit of rage, Ichigo defeats the hollow as he escapes before he is killed. The Soul Reaper sent after Rukia leaves with a warning when he witnesses Ichigo's strength. When popular TV star spirit medium Don Kanonji transforms a spirit into a hollow during an exorcism, Ichigo is forced to clean up the mess. Upon the hollow's defeat, Kanonji is shocked to realize what he has done. With a little cheering up from Ichigo, Kanonji is back to his old self again and calls Ichigo, despite Ichigo's objections, his new apprentice. While on another hollow fighting mission, Ichigo encounters Uryu Ishida, a classmate belonging to a clan known as the Quincy, humans that can use spiritual power to manifest a bow to fight hollows. Uryu declares himself an enemy of all soul reapers and challenges Ichigo to a competition of hunting hollows. The contest between Ichigo and Uryu has lured hundreds of hollows into Karakura town, endangering many of Ichigo's friends. Chad is forced to fight a hollow in order to save Karen. During the battle, he is finally able to see the hollow clearly and develops a new ability, an armored right arm capable of firing energy blasts called the right arm of the giant. The situation worsens as more hollows appear in the human world, attacking the school where Orihime and her friends are. While defending them, Orihime develops her own power, the Shun Shun Rika, a group of fairy-like creatures coming from the hairpins given to her by her brother, and defeats the hollow. Afterward, Urahara takes in Orihime and Chad to help them with their new powers, while Rukia and Ichigo confront Uryu. The Legion of Hollows force Ichigo and Uryu to team up in combat while the others watch. A giant hollow called a Menos Grande arrives on the scene and is driven away after Ichigo inflicts a wound assisted by power from Uryu. However, he releases too much spiritual power in the process. The strain of his powers causes Ichigo to lose consciousness, and Uryu saves him by releasing the excess energy through his bow. Tired of mistreatment from Ichigo, Kon runs away to find a better owner, but he finds his abuse continuing from girls due to his perverse nature. Ichigo makes an effort to befriend Uryu, but is rebuffed. Rukia becomes conflicted with her attachment with humans. Rather than endanger Ichigo, she runs away to face the newly arrived hunters from the Soul Society. Ichigo chases after Rukia only to encounter the two Soul Reapers pursuing her. Ichigo faces off against the Soul Reaper Lieutenant Renji Abarai. Renji triggers the Shikai state of his Zanpakuto, overwhelming Ichigo with his strength. Ichigo makes a comeback against Renji, overpowering him with his enormous spirit energy. Just when Renji is about to fall, his commander Byakuya Kuchiki, Rukia's brother, steps in and defeats Ichigo with overwhelming pace. Rukia returns to the Soul Society so that Ichigo can be spared death, and Ichigo is left dying with his power stripped from him. He is then saved by Urahara, who agrees to help him rescue Rukia, who faces the death penalty in the Soul Society. Ichigo, however, must agree to train with Urahara to regain his powers. As his last day of school ends, Ichigo is upset to discover that no one except for Orihime, Chad, and Uryu seems to remember Rukia, due to a mind wipe imposed by the Soul Society. He begins his training at the Urahara shop, first battling the shop's girl assistant, Ururu Tsumugia, to regain control of his spirit body. As the training enters stage 2, Ichigo's soul is cut from his body and thrown into a pit. He must regain his Soul Reaper powers within 3 days, or risk becoming a hollow. Meanwhile, Yoruichi Shihoin, a talking cat, offers to train Chad and Orihime to control and enhance their powers so they can join Ichigo to go to the Soul Society and rescue Rukia. In the Soul Society, Rukia's sentence is moved up and she only has 25 days left. In the pit, Ichigo battles through the agony of the process of becoming a hollow. His transformation is almost complete as he enters his own mind, coming face to face with his inner spirit, Zangetsu, who helps him unleash the Soul Reaper powers he was born with. In a powerful display, Ichigo emerges from the pit with his Soul Reaper uniform on, wearing the mask of a hollow. Breaking the mask off, Ichigo enters the next stage of his training, that is to fight Urahara. While fighting Urahara, Ichigo learns that Zangetsu is the name of his Zanpakuto. Upon learning the name, the sword transforms into its more powerful Shikai form, as Ichigo unleashes an energy blast which knocks off Urahara's hat, completing the 3rd stage in his training. Orihime and Chad, meanwhile, finish their training with Yoruichi. The entire group, including Uryu, who has been training alone, set out for the Soul Society using a gate that Yoruichi and Urahara made.